Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I am finally back. I'm Christina, and I'm a reseller. I love hunting for old treasure that's been left behind, finding it a new home, and having a little fun along the way. You can follow my journey on Instagram at little.black.hanger. You can shop my amazing clothing finds on Poshmark at littleblackhanger without the vowels. And you can find everything else in my Etsy shop at Altera Vita Vintage. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I had a really rough week last week. So I wasn't able to make a video on Friday or yesterday, but I am back today and I'm gonna have a new video up for you guys on Friday as well. So there will still be 2 videos this week. Last week, I think it was on Tuesday, it's been a week since I asked you guys on Instagram to send me any questions that you had for me, and I have them pulled up on my computer right now. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm going to answer all of your burning questions. So let's do this. All right, so the first question is, will you ever bring back your Oddities stuff? I think that's so cool. I love anything witchy. So if you guys saw my clean with me video where I cleaned my bedroom, I told you guys a little bit about the Etsy shop that I used to run. And it was basically an Oddities shop where I sold just like weird stuff. If you watch Graveyard Girl, it was pretty much just like a store made for her, basically. I may bring some of the Oddities stuff back like around Halloween time. It's not really something that I think everyone's looking for right now. I don't really think there's like a huge market for it like all year round. I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys would be interested in stuff like that. I'm definitely going to bring back a few things for Halloween because Halloween is my favorite holiday. Next question is, how do you find the time period for a home decor item? All right, so a lot of times on the bottom of things there will be like a maker's mark, or sometimes it even like has a sticker that tells you the date. This is very common with items that are from the 80s to 90s to early 2000s. So starting in the 80s, they started putting stickers on things and it had the date on it. I have found some with in the 70s, but it's more common in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Like I said, on the bottom of things you can usually find a maker's mark, and I just type that into Google, try to find the maker of it, and then narrow it down by looking at similar things on eBay. Maybe somebody else knows the decade. So really it's just like a rabbit hole of things. Sometimes it doesn't have a mark at all and I just have to describe the item in Google and then it pops up, for sale on like eBay or other platforms. Some items take a lot longer to research than others because I don't really have a whole lot to go on. But always look for a maker's mark, and then if there's not one, just describe it as best as you can in Google, and a lot of times similar items will pop up, if not the exact item, and then one thing leads to another. Just keep clicking on pictures. Eventually you'll find yours. Do you charge extra for shipping larger home decor items when sold through Poshmark? I have been trying to keep everything under £5 just because I don't want to have to pay the extra shipping, but I think if it goes over £5 and you have to get an upgraded label, that one only goes up to £10, and it comes out of your earnings. I don't think the buyer pays the extra shipping cost. I think the seller does. I could be wrong. I'm sure someone will let me know down in the comments below if I am. But I personally have been trying to keep things under £5 just because I don't want to pay the extra shipping, and nobody wants to ship an item that big. It's a pain in the butt for sure. Can you do a video on style boxes? I am no longer doing style boxes. I guess I could do a video on like styling other people where I like have a guest with me and I style them. I could do that. I'm not doing style boxes anymore just because it takes so long and really like the payoff is not equal to the work, if that makes sense. But yes, I can do a video about like styling or where I style somebody else. If you want to see that video, let me know down in the comments below. I could take a friend to the thrift store and style them. That could be fun. I just need to find a friend now. Okay, so let's see. Next question. Trying to figure Trying to figure what sizes of boxes and bubble mailers are okay for Poshmark. Thanks. Okay, so it does say on Poshmark that you can't go over a certain size, and I'll put that on the screen right here. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like the total dimensions. So the height, width, and length of the package can't go over a certain amount of inches because Poshmark doesn't have like that covered in their shipping policy with the post office. So I will put that on the screen right here. It is on the Poshmark blog. I will leave that link down below if you guys want to check that out. Basically, if you stick to any boxes, any priority boxes, any priority flat rate boxes, you can use all of those. All of those are safe. The flat rate padded envelopes are safe. Pretty much as long as you're not shipping like a box the size of a chair, it's safe. So has anyone ever told you that you look exactly like Amber Tamblyn? I don't know who that is. I get a lot of, who's the girl? I think it's from, she's from like Family Ties. I get that a lot. I get that I look like, oh, what's her name from That 70s Show? Donna. The girl who plays Donna from That 70s Show. I get that a lot. No one's ever told me Amber Tamblyn, though. I'll have to look up and see who that is. I'll put a picture of her on the screen. Do we look alike? Are we twins? Yes? No? Next question. What is the best clothing item you have thrifted recently? Love your videos. Thank you. I have one personal item that I thrifted, and it was a pair of overalls. They were vintage Disney, and they have this cute little Mickey Mouse on them. They're just so adorable, and they fit me perfectly. It's very hard for me to find overalls because I have a weird shaped body. And I've been really loving like Disney lately, as you can tell. This is actually for sale in my Poshmark closet if you want it. I'm just stealing it for the day. Clothing find for Poshmark would be the teaks that I found. I guess that's shoes technically, but I'm gonna consider it clothing. I found a pair of teaks, yellow teaks, for $30, and I flipped them in an hour for over $100, so that was a pretty good find. Do you plan to add another platform or stream of income? I do sell a little bit on eBay. I sell a little bit on Etsy. I have some stuff up on Mercari, and I do sell on Depop as well. None of those platforms compare to Poshmark in my opinion, and they're definitely not as steady as Poshmark for me, but I also don't put as much effort into them. So yes, I do sell on other platforms. I just focus a lot more of my energy on Poshmark. My sister says, who is your favorite sister and redhead? Well, you're my favorite sister, and your child is my favorite redhead. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you've seen my adorable red-haired, curly-haired niece. I'll put a picture of her on the screen. She's the cutest baby ever. I have multiple nieces and nephews, and she is my favorite. Don't tell the others. How many days a week do you take photos? I take photos every day. Like, I don't do a day, like one specific day where I just take a mass amount of photos. I take photos every day, so you know, I'll take like 10 photos a day and list those items. Once I've photographed everything, I like to list it right then. So I was getting in the habit of like taking a bunch of photos, and instead of spreading those items out like I should be, I was posting them all at once. So this way, if I photograph a certain amount of items every day, only those items get listed, and then I could spread my items out throughout the week. So that's just my personal thing. Antique books, Poshmark or eBay? What do you feel works best? Worried about weight. As long as it's under 5 pounds. I mean, I wouldn't ship, you know, a whole box of books because that's an extreme amount of weight, and that's definitely not going to happen. You just have like a couple books here and there, as long as it's under 5 pounds. They could be put on Posh. I think if they're antique books, you might get more for them on eBay, just because eBay is more of like a collector's market, as opposed to Poshmark is more of just like a decor, you know, for the looks market. It's not really like, you know, I don't think a lot of people on Poshmark are collectors or, you know, see the value in antique things like people do on eBay. I'm not saying that people on Poshmark don't at all, but I feel like eBay might be a better market for them. But if it's just like older, like vintage books that aren't really worth a whole lot of money, but they look nice, I would put them on Poshmark. Like I said, as long as they're under 5 pounds. How many times a day do you reshare your closet? I try to share my closet at least 3 times a day, but like morning, middle of the day, and then at night. But I do a lot of sharing at night just because that's when I see the most activity. I don't have a set number, I just share it whenever I can. Sometimes I'll share my closet 10 times a day, sometimes 15. I also don't have a super large closet with like 500 items, so it's a lot easier for me to share my items quicker and to share them more frequently, if that makes sense. I try to keep under 100 items in my closet at all times just because of my storage, and I just don't like big closets. I don't want to have to share that many items, truthfully. I try to have a higher turnover rate, and I try to move things pretty quickly. So it's a lot easier for me to share my closet more times a day than people with, 500 plus items in their closet. What are some of the best brands? I feel like that is very subjective to the person. I know that, for example, my friend Lynn can sell J. Crew like nobody's business, but I buy J. Crew and it sits for 7 years. So I think it's just what works for you. If it's on trend, it doesn't have to be a really good brand. There's plenty of really high-end brands, like Anthropologie brands. There's brands like, let's say, Theory. Theory is a very expensive high-end brand, but some of their pieces are very business-like. They're very outdated. They just don't sell on Poshmark very well. So it can be the nicest brand. It can be Gucci, and if it's ugly, you're not going to get that much for it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not a huge believer in it's all in the brand. It's more in the style. So I would recommend look on Pinterest, look at fashion magazines, see what's on trend right now, and go more by that than by brand. Now, yes, there are certain brands that bring more traffic to your closet, like Patagonia, Lululemon. A lot of Revolve brands are very, very popular right now. If you don't know what Revolve is, it's an online clothing website that's very, very trendy and also very expensive. So go on the Revolve website and look at their brand list. They are kind of like an umbrella brand, if that makes sense. They sell a bunch of other brands, kind of like Anthropologie, where they sell a ton of brands. Anthropologie brands are nice to get traffic to your closet. They don't fetch as much as they used to unless it's a really rare piece. Patagonia is always a really good brand to get traffic to your closet. Patagonia, anything sells no matter what. Try not to get hung up on brand, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Favorite place to go out to eat? Yes, Loaded Cart Co. with the personal questions. Thanks. My favorite place to go eat. I can't think of Cracker Barrel. That's not a fancy restaurant. That's just fancy for me, who grew up in a small town in Georgia. I love Cracker Barrel. I've never had a bad experience at Cracker Barrel. It is so good. How are your sales through Instagram? Are you seeing success with it? Yes. I get a couple, you guys have seen me post in my stories, that things are available through PayPal. If you would like to purchase them through PayPal, I can offer a little bit more of a discount, and you also don't have to pay the $6.50 for shipping. I get about 2 or 3 sales every time I post a batch of things on my Instagram stories, so it goes pretty well. I wouldn't say that I'm gonna live off of Instagram sales, but they definitely help. And it's instant money because it goes straight into your PayPal account, so that's instantly mine. I don't have to wait on it, So there are some pros to selling on Instagram. Next question is, new tats in the future, ? Yes, I am itching for a tattoo, and once I get some bills paid off, that will be my first investment. That's not a need, it's a want. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish my Harry Potter sleeve or start on this arm. I should probably finish the Harry Potter sleeve and then move on, but I haven't decided yet. But yes, I definitely want a new tattoo very soon. What was the best item you found while thrifting? I think I already answered this earlier, what's my best recent clothing find? Those teaks were probably my best find ever. Like, I could not believe that they were just sitting on a table and no one was like touching them. I mean, and they were very noticeable too. Like, the blue sole of teaks is very noticeable, and they were bright yellow. Like, I was so shocked that nobody picked them up. Maybe because they had them marked for $30, but that was definitely a win for me. And I was hesitant because I'm very cheap. I do not pay $30 for anything. Would you ever do a video explaining your tattoos? I love yours so much. Thank you. I may do one. I don't really have any like cool stories behind my tattoos, and a lot of my tattoos I got when I was younger, and they're not great. So I may do a tattoo tour video one day. Maybe after I get a new tattoo, then I'll do a tattoo video. All right, next question. How long do you keep an item in your Posh closet before you give up on it? If I have relisted it more than 5 times, I think it's time to give up. I think it's considered a bad buy at that point. I've held on to items for over a year. It was really hard in the beginning for me to just like let stuff go, redonate it, give it to a friend. I've been letting things go a lot easier and at least trying to get my money back. Like, if I paid $250 for it and I get $250 back, yes, that's fine. Like, take it. Especially if I've been sitting on it for a year. So now I guess my rule would be if I've relisted it 5 times or more, it might be time to let it go or put it on eBay on auction. Because like I said, if you can get $1, $2, that's better than nothing, you know? Number 1 trend for home goods. I would say just from looking like on Pinterest and stuff and like seeing what others are selling, farmhouse is definitely a huge trend. And I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. You know, anything that you think Joanna Gaines would buy is probably on trend. Boho is always on trend. I don't really stick to trends when it comes to home goods. I really like to find cool vintage, like unique vintage pieces that nobody else has. Like, I'm not out here looking for Pier 1. I mean, if I find it and it's cute, then I'll buy it. But I really personally try to stick to more unique vintage items. But yeah, definitely farmhouse. Do you do your own bookkeeping? Tips on staying up to date? It's my least favorite. Yes, I do my own bookkeeping. I'm really bad at keeping it up to date. One thing that I have noticed that helps is I will keep a tab. I always use the Google spreadsheets, and I always keep that tab open on my laptop so that whenever I make a sale on Poshmark, I can just immediately go to my Google spreadsheets, type that sale in. It takes 2 seconds. It's really about discipline. I was months behind. Like, I hadn't done bookkeeping since March, and it's the end of June, you know? I'm so bad at it. One thing that I do use that helps me, and it's kind of like in the background, so I don't really have to worry about it. I do pay for QuickBooks. I think it's $16.99 a month, and that keeps up with your mileage. So anytime I drive anywhere, I can just categorize it as personal or business. So that keeps up with my mileage deductions. And then it also is connected to my bank account, so I can swipe whether it's personal or business once again, so that keeps up with my business expenses. I mean, that's a huge lifesaver right there because I don't have to manually do it. It just automatically does it for me. So that's definitely something that I personally have invested in. I know there's a lot of apps on the market, there's a lot of softwares on the market, but that's just what I personally use because it's all in one app. I don't have to use a separate mileage app or anything like that. It's just all in one place, and it does the work for me, which is what I like because I'm lazy. What's the most expensive item you've bought to resell? The teaks. I sound like a broken record. I spent $30 on them, and I've never spent more than that on something to resell because, again, I'm cheap, and I like taking big risks like that scares me. Now that was like a good one. I couldn't not buy them, you know, and they sold in 1 hour. So I would definitely, yeah, that's the most expensive thing I've ever done. I don't know that I would pay more. Maybe if I get to like Rally Root status one day and I'm like ballin', then I'll pay more for things, but at the moment that's not very feasible. For the most part, I spend less than $3 on things. Cheap queen, yes. Unisex graphic tees list under the men or women's category? That's a good question. Can we talk about that? Can Poshmark just make like a unisex category? Like, it's 2019. What if I identify as both? You know, what if I'm just like androgynous? What if I'm like a David Bowie queen? You know, that's a hard question. I feel like it could probably reach more people under the men's category, because that way I don't feel like a lot of men are looking in the women's category for t-shirts, but women would be more inclined to look under the men's category. So that's my final answer. Put it under men's so it reaches a broader audience. Okay, let's move on. I'm sweating. That question made me nervous. I didn't know how to answer that. Okay, so the last question is, when you do PayPal, how much does it cost you to ship? I was interested in it and thinking about maybe trying it, but how do you generate the label? So when somebody pays through PayPal, it automatically lets you ship through PayPal. I have a PayPal business account. Now, anyone can really sign up for a business account. It's not like some crazy thing where you have to have like a business license or anything like that. It's just a separate account that like allows you to ship things and send invoices and stuff like that. So if you don't have a PayPal business account, I would recommend opening one. So basically, when you send somebody an invoice, so you just click on create invoice, you type in their email, you type in your item description, what it is. The reason you want to send them an invoice is because it protects the buyer and the seller. It's just like, you know, any transaction on like eBay or Poshmark, they're protected under PayPal. So you definitely want to create an invoice. Then once they pay, you go to your activity, and right beside it, it will say print shipping label, and you just click on that, and then you automatically get like a discount. PayPal gives you like a discounted rate on shipping. So I would say on most items, they're usually about, like a shirt is usually around 8 ounces, and I can ship it first class for about $3.65. And then jeans, I can usually ship for about $5. So it's still cheaper than Poshmark, especially with shirts, you know, that are only 8 ounces. There's no sense in my customer paying $6.50 on Poshmark when I can ship it first class for $3, you know? So that's the advantage of selling through Instagram, through PayPal. But you definitely want to make sure that you're doing it the correct way. So again, get a PayPal business account. It's not hard. Just sign up for it like a regular PayPal account, and then you'll be able to do all of that. I hope that answered your question. It's very, very easy. Once you get the hang of it, it's not hard at all. The internet is your best friend. If you get lost, there's plenty of material on the internet to help guide you. All right, so that's all the questions that you guys had for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I answered all of your questions to your satisfaction. If you like this video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up on your way out. If you haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button and join our family. I put new videos out every Tuesday and Friday, sometimes Wednesday and Saturday, and I will see you guys on Friday. Bye, guys.